Hi everyone, it's Miss Lloyd again, here helping you with one of my calls in. So one of my students came in and was like, hey Miss Lloyd, what about this? And so here we're multiplying two radicals together. One of these radicals happens to be a fraction. Yes, I know, the F word, or at least it's the F word in my class. If they say something else, they're going to have some issues. All right, so here we're multiplying two radicals. Whenever I'm multiplying with a fraction, I like to multiply a fraction with another fraction. So I'm going to put this over 1. Multiplying across the top, I would be multiplying 18 with my 3. So square root 18 times my square root of 3, which is going to give me square root 54. And multiplying across the bottom, 1 times square root 10 is just going to give me square root of 10. Now, when I have finally just this one fraction that I'm working with instead of two, they both have the square roots, there's nothing else around it, nothing adding or subtracting, I'm going to turn this into one kind of gross looking square root because I want to see if there's a way to simplify what's underneath. I personally like to work with smaller numbers than larger ones. So here I can tell that my 54 and my 10 can be reduced by 2. So I can start off with 2. If I see something else a little bit later, I can do that as well. So then when I reduce by 2, that means on top I've got 27 and then a 5. So I can't reduce 27 and 5 anymore, so I'm going to separate it. So 27 and square root 5. So from here, I don't like that I have the radical on the bottom. I also don't like that I can't take the square root of 27, but I could possibly reduce it. Again, I'm going to go with reducing first just because I don't like working with bigger numbers. So I know 9 times 3 will give me that 27, and I know the square root of 9 is 3, so I can reduce this to 3 and then square root 3. I would have a 3 left over in there over my square root 5. Now that I have this as reduced as I possibly can, the smallest numbers possible, I want to get rid of my radical on the bottom. So in order to do that, I need to turn my square root 5 into something that I know the square root of. And I know the square root of 25. So in order to turn that 5 into the square root of 25, I'm going to multiply it by square root 5. And what I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. So now across the top, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I have 3, and whenever I multiply, I can only multiply radicals with radicals. So that square root 3 and the square root 5 can multiply together to give me square root 15. And then on the bottom, when I do my square root 5 times square root 5, that's the same as square root 25, which I know is just 5. So now looking at my numbers outside, my 3 and 5, I know I can't reduce those. Typically, if you reduce first, then you don't have to reduce as much later on. So because I did all that reducing to begin with, I don't have to worry about reducing now. And so here's my final product. There's nothing inside the square root of 15 that I know the square root of, so I can't reduce the radical, and I can't reduce the 3 and the 5 outside, so I know I'm finished. Hopefully you guys have a Mathemagical Monday. And leave me a comment, like, subscribe, send to a friend that you think may need this video.